Dana Ferguson was the executive pastor at the Fourth Presbyterian Church of Chicago. Dana was a lovely, lovely person and a beautiful woman. Dana preached once about all the church committees and subcommittees and asked, what are they all for? Of course, she explained, they're important for carrying out the work of the church, but if they're not accomplishing anything, then what's the point? Dana's funeral was held on Halloween, October 31st, 2008, 14 years ago. The service was lovely, and many small details about Dana's service and dedication were shared, including how she was the one to make sure everyone's cloaks were on correctly and that everyone's Presbyterian tabs were properly unfurled. Whenever we were preparing communion in Stone Chapel, Dana would always come to ask if we needed more time to prepare the elements and if she needed to hold the service. We never needed more time to prepare the elements, and the idea of holding the service was completely unthinkable to us, but we always appreciated Dana asking. At the funeral, everything was going just great until the end of the service, when the reality of the occasion came crashing down all around us. As the casket was taken down the main aisle, followed by Dana's mom, her husband, and the two boys, it was a crushing moment of sadness. Just as the congregation, and myself included, was about to burst into tears, Tower Brass started to play Dixieland Brass from the balcony above us. It was an instant when sadness was transformed into gladness, and a chuckle was had in the place of tears. I believe this is the point of the church that Dana was talking about. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This week, we talked about the difference between being anxious and afraid, how Chicago is actually not the murder capital of the U.S., and about how Chernobyl is part of the Ukraine. Their readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Ruth. Sometimes it takes a shrewd woman to navigate out of a bad situation. And from Corinthians, if I don't have love, I'm just a clanging gong. The gospel reading was about the Good Samaritan, the person who stops on the side of the road to help the man who's been left for dead. And the question is asked about who is my neighbor? The Republican, the unvaccinated, the election denier, or the Russian? At National Cathedral, they continue the series leading up to the November midterm elections about showing mercy, seeking justice, and walking humbly with our God. They continue to frame the topic as Republican versus Democrat, and I suppose that's understandable because Washington National Cathedral is located in Washington, D.C., but most of the country watching are in fact independent swing voters. Reverend Leonard Hamlin preached about how we've all found ourselves joined together in this time. And in this weird time, we're all aware that something is not quite right in the world, even though we can't quite put our finger on it. At St. James Cathedral, it was the feast of St. James, the brother of Jesus. And the sermon was about what happens when our leader is gone. How do we carry on? We could probably see that part of our problem in today's world is the lack of leadership in our time. We need leadership in the church, in the country, and in the world. At Coffee Hour, we also discussed how in court, everyone has a side. If you've been wronged, part of the blame can be on you because you were an attractive nuisance and had something that enticed someone to make you a victim. There is no such thing as perfect justice, And in place of perfect justice, we have the court system. In church, sometimes in place of love, we have our committees. And in politics, instead of governance, we often have partisan politics. Where is the leadership in all that? And what's the point? The best leadership is God's leadership, because it's through God's grace that our tears are turned into laughter, and sadness is transformed into gladness. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.